What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. All right, so let's get to this. So before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Trenard Washington for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Salute you for showing love. Once again, truly appreciate you guys, man. So let's talk about Michael Finley, because these guys love to say that there was no great players. There was no really good players in the Jordan era or Kobe's era. Nobody was really good. Somehow, magically, the NBA only got good in the last 20 years because they're catering. When I say they, I'm talking about the Ladiclics. They're only pandering to, these naive, know-nothing, LeBron fans who are either too young to know anything about history or they're too stupid to really study the history of the game or learn about the history of the game. They want to be pandered to. They want their stupidity rewarded. And, unfortunately, that's what the media is doing. They're rewarding banality with, cherry-picked and sloppy, unoriginal arguments and content. But we try to be above the fray on this channel, and we're going to tell the truth. So let's talk about Michael Finley. Michael Finley played basketball, I want to say, from 1995 through, let me see. No, I take that back. I believe he played from 1996 through about 2010. And let me get the years correct. That's what I recall his career being, but let me make sure of that. So Michael Finley played in the NBA from 1990. No, I was correct the first time. From 1995 to 2010. And he won an NBA championship with the San Antonio Spurs in 2007, two-time NBA All-Star. He was on their all-rookie first team in 1996. He scored more than 17,000 points in his NBA career. He averaged 4.4 rebounds, almost 3 assists per night in his NBA career. And the first 9 years of his NBA career, he was primarily a starter. And in the dead ball era, when it was much more difficult to score, when most teams were not even averaging 96, 97 points a game, as opposed to the league average being 115 points a game now. You got some teams that average over 120 points a game. He averaged 19.3 points the first 9 years of his career. He shot about 47% from the field his first 9 years of his career. He shot 36.5% from beyond the arc, which was above league average at the time, the first 9 years of his career. He shot over 80% from the free throw line his first 9 years of his career. I believe he had 2 seasons averaging over 20 points a game. He was the real deal. He had incredible endurance. I believe he averaged over 40 minutes a game a couple of years earlier in his career. He played heavy minutes. He was a workhorse, and that made sense because on a lot of those Phoenix Suns and pre-Dirk Nowitzki Dallas Maverick teams, with the rise of Dirk, he was shouldering a lot of the offensive load on those Dallas Mavericks teams and on those post-Charles Barkley Phoenix Suns teams. He, as I said before, he was a very, very good scorer. He could shoot. He could drive to the basket, right? He was explosive. He was athletic. He was a big guard for his era, 6'7", 230, 235. He could play make. Um, he was a good rebounder for his position. He was a very, very good ISO player. I think the one thing that, and he was a good defensive player. He was a very good defensive player. Um, the one thing that I can think of where he sort of lacked is off the top of my head from remembering watching him play and some of the critiques. He was not a great ball handler. He was not a good ball handler, and that kind of held him back. And as a matter of fact, when I think of a player to compare him to now that's playing in the league, um, I would say one of the guys that I would compare him to is Jaylen Brown. Although Jaylen Brown is even more explosive than Michael Finley, uh, has had more individual dominant seasons than Michael Finley. Although Finley was probably a better passer and playmaker than Jaylen Brown, but there's some similarities there, right, as far as their games. But Michael Finley was also a quintessential professional. And but by that I mean he never thought himself as being bigger than the game. And when it became very apparent after he first was, because he played with Phoenix his first year in the league, 1995-96. Then he was traded, I believe, to Dallas during the 96 offseason. I believe he was traded. So those first 5 to 6 years, he was the main offensive weapon. But after the rise of Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash, especially Dirk Nowitzki, he began to take a back seat to Dirk, and he became more of a complementary or supporting player. And that was his role defined probably the last 7 or 8 years of his, the last 6 to 7 years of his career. He became more of a role player. And he became a valuable role player because for 5 years he played with San Antonio Spurs, and he won a championship with them in 2007. And he primarily played small forward, although at times he would play shooting guard. He came out of Wisconsin. In 1995, he was the 21st overall pick in the 1995 NBA draft. And in college, he was twice first team All Big Ten, 1993, 1995, USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year in 1993. And his number 24 was retired by the Wisconsin Badgers. He averaged 15.8 points per game for his NBA career. And his rookie year in the NBA, he averaged 15 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. Now, his rookie year, 95, 96, I want to say, let me see. I'm trying to remember who was on that team in 95, 96. It was Kevin Johnson, I think, was still there, and Charles Barkley. But they were starting to fall apart as a team that year. So I want to say Barkley was there. KJ might have been there, but he might have been hurt during the regular season. Dan Marley had left in free agency to go sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I distinctly remember that. So during the regular season, it was Michael Finley's rookie year. Barkley was still there. That was his last year in Phoenix. Kevin Johnson was there, but he only played 56 games, so I was right. Wesley Person was there. Wesley Person averaged 12.7 points per game, 37.4% from beyond the arc, Hot Rod, the late Hot Rod Williams was there. AC Green was there. Danny Manning was there. Elliot Perry with his high socks. The late Wayman Tisdale was there. Tony Smith, Mario Bennett, Joe Klein, Chris Carr, David Wood, Stefano Rusconi, Joe Cocker, Terrence Rencher. Okay, those are the bums. I shouldn't say it like that, but those are the bums. And something interesting here. I'm trying to remember what the hell happened. Michael Finley played all 82 games during the regular season, but he's not on the playoff roster. I'm trying to remember what happened. Oh, that's what happened. He was the third rookie in Suns history to score over 1,000 points in the season. Despite playing all 82 games in his rookie season, Finley was injured on the final day of regular season and did not play in the playoffs. He was traded by the Suns December 26, 1996 to Dallas Mavericks, along with Sam Cassell, AC Green, and a second-round draft pick for Jason Kidd, Tony Dumas, and Lauren Meyer. So, damn, Tony Dumas. Hmm. Hmm. So I'm just reading some stuff. All right. So anyway, I don't even remember. I don't even remember Michael Finley getting hurt the last day of that season. But anyway, man, yeah, like I was saying though, Michael Finley was a really, really good player. Now, was he a Hall of Famer? No, he wasn't a Hall of Famer. But what the NBA had back then was a lot of really, really, really good players. You had, like today, it seems like what you have today is you have a top layer of superstars. And then you have some good players, and then it's like a lot of average players and below average players. In the 90s, you had a plethora of superstars, a plethora of all star level players. And then you had these plentiful, really, really good near all star level guys. Like another guy that pops in my mind was Walt Williams. Walt Williams was not a perennial all star, but I suspect if he played in today's NBA with his skill set, he would be. So the NBA in the 90s was loaded with talent. I just, every time I hear one of these guys say, well, the 90s talent level, what you, shut up. You weren't even alive then. How you going to tell us what we saw is wrong, but you somehow, because you think you want to believe that to be true, because that's your bullshit narrative, somehow what you say supersedes us. It's the arrogance. It's the epitome and the peak of arrogance, in my opinion. Anyway, what you guys think?